question here from Raz, and the question goes like this. I was wondering if you could answer a question for me. When I just sit and be where there are no thoughts registering, I am empty, but something falls asleep. I only realize it after fully waking up. Is there something I can do to not drift off to sleep? Okay, so this is good. You're in this deep meditation, right, where the mind activity is slowing down, and it slows down and becomes slow and stills. So the mind is still. There's no activity. There's no thoughts arising. And there's just this experience of being empty. You say, I am empty. But something falls asleep, which then you say, I only realize after fully waking up. And sometimes it feels like there's kind of like a jolting out of this sleep. But the question is there something I can do to not drift off to sleep? Well, how do you know that you're falling asleep? Why do you believe to be falling asleep? Because you say that you notice something falls asleep. Therefore, there's you that's aware of something that falls asleep. Therefore, you're watching something fall asleep. And what's falling asleep is the mind. It's the mind activity that's coming to a rest. But notice how you are aware of it. And when the activity comes to a rest, there's no activity. There's no experience of thoughts. There's an experience of no thing. But what is that? That is experiencing no thing. What is aware that there's no activity? You. So this is very deep in meditation. And there's still this confusion where you're aware of something falling asleep, and then after that's noticed by you, there's back to identifying, I must have fell asleep. How did I fall asleep? If you fell asleep, then what was aware? That something fell asleep. See, even that noticing of something falling asleep is objectified, meaning that's the object, that activity that comes to rest. That's what fell asleep. That is objectified. That is the object. That activity of thought is the object. But what is the subject? The subject is that which is aware of it. And realizing this is all that's needed. Realizing that you never fall asleep, that you are always awake, that you are always conscious, because you are consciousness. You are always aware. You are awareness. Without consciousness, without being conscious, you wouldn't be conscious that something came to a rest, something came to a stop. It's the activity that comes to a stop. So there's an experience of no activity. But what you are is completely still, silent. What you are is not an experience at this state. Because you are experiencing the activity and noticing how the activity is always changing, and the activity comes and goes, and the activity appears and disappears. The activity has a start and an end. But you, that is aware, you do not have a start. You do not have an end. You are ever present. That's why you're able to simply witness thoughts that come and go. That's why you're able to witness the start of an activity and the end of the activity, because you are ever present. You are without start. You are without end. Therefore, you are eternal. You are ever present. So you did not fall asleep. You say it correctly in the first part of the question, something fell asleep. But then in the last part of the question, you're saying, how can I prevent myself from falling asleep? Can you see the confusion? At the end of the question, you go back to identifying as the one that fell asleep, not realizing that you did not fall asleep. You're always awake. You are aware of something else that fell asleep. That being the mind that came to a rest, came to an end, ceased activity. But what is aware of all of this? The one without start, the one without end, the one that's ever present, the one that's eternal, the one that does not depend on the mind to exist, the one that's always beyond the mind, existing eternally, the one that's you. Hopefully this helps. See you in the next one.